Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce the most powerful and the quickest SUV ever, the 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Oops, there you go. So there it is. Now, Trackhawk's outstanding performance begins with a supercharged 6.2-litre V8 that delivers 707 horsepower at 645 foot-pound of torque. And as you saw, I think that translates to some pretty impressive numbers for on-track performance. We're obviously talking 0-60 in 3.5 seconds, taking the quarter mile in 11.6 seconds, and reaching a top speed of around 180 miles an hour. Now, lateral acceleration is also track-worthy, measuring 0.88 G on the skid pad. So in my view, this is the ultimate performance SUV and one of the fastest ways I know to put a smile on your face.
Clearly a stunning vehicle, but it's really about the performance of what this Trackhawk represents. You know, this is the most powerful, the quickest SUV ever manufactured.
Unique to the Trackhawk is that it is a 6.2-liter Hemi all-wheel drive, which hasn't been done in the past. So the unique challenge there is handling that immense torque output into an all-wheel drive system. So we updated the transfer case itself by increasing the amount of forged components used, the change capacity, and obviously how we balance that output both to the front and rear axle.
Jeep has history and capability, obviously, not just our off-road capability, but when we introduced the original SRT back in 2006, we established great capability on-road as well. And this, again, I think just is on top of that. So this is going to continue to help us push Grand Cherokee right into the premium part of the full-size SUV segment.
Anytime you can take an SUV and get it to 0-60 in 3.5 seconds, it's amazing.
Well, clearly this is going to be a Jeep enthusiast, but it's going to be somebody who really appreciates a premium, high-performance vehicle, regardless of its type. And now we'll be able to get that in an SUV, and we're very, very pleased to be able to offer it to them.
first interest in design came about in the Midlands, you know, where Land Rovers and Range Rovers are built. And a particular building had quite a great influence on your interest in design. A lot of that is carried through. What was that building?
It was right in the centre of Coventry, and the building was actually called the Round Cafe. It sat on a central column, cylindrical, with a lot of glass. And as a very young child, I used to sit in there. My mother worked in there for a while. So I was introduced to this world of modernism and futuring from a very young age.
Jerry, when you look at these two cars, I mean, they're obviously directly related. It also shows how things have utterly changed since the day that car was built as a luxury SUV.
Remember that we're looking at the original here and where we currently are today, and there's two iterations in between. So that evolution, I mean, when you're looking at this to that, is quite polarising. Having said that, expectations or standards when it comes to luxury have changed massively from when this car was originally created, because by today's standards, you know, quite frankly, a car like this, as graded as it is, it's a car that I still love, wouldn't meet those standards today.
There's another object here, an Eames chair. I know it's one of your favourite designs.
It has certain values that are important to me in design, you know, being true to materials. The fact that rather than covering up the structure, the base, they've celebrated that. You know, the way it's constructed is as much about the design as the pure aesthetics.
And I know another one of your interests is wristwatches. And there's a particular watch that you like, which is a Patek Philippe Calatrava, and that was actually designed in the 1930s.
I just love it because of its simplicity. It's as much about what it doesn't say as what it does say. But every detail on that watch, as simple as it is doing a job. And it's just a beautiful thing.
Now, you're a collector of art, Jerry, and in particular I've noticed you've got some Joseph Alber's prints.
One of the reasons why I like Albert so much is the precision of his work through the printing process, you know, silk screen printing, which allows you to get perfect lines of connecting colour. If you look at a painting by Albert where he paints on a canvas, the canvas has got undulations in it. And for me, that spores that perfect precision. And I never tired of them. I bought my first collection by Albert, I don't know, 15 years ago.
The Kaufman house. It occurs to me there are lots of features of that house which I can now sort of see in that Range Rover. There's the kind of bringing the outside into the house.
The first time we really did it was on the Evoque. This massive panoramic roof was a direct influence of trying to bring the outside in. People tend to think of design as something you just add. It isn't. Design is actually the glue that pulls everything together. The world would be a sad place, for me, without great design.
So here at Mulliner we handle all of those unique individual requests that many customers have. And Bentayga is no exception. From the simplest piece of embroidery right the way through, ultimately we are sure to a bespoke hide service. And in time we're really looking forward to working with this car.
We represent the voice of the customer in the business. So we represent their needs, their wants and their dreams. And we have to make sure that the customer is fully satisfied with the product that we're actually delivering to them. During the development of the Bentayga, we spoke to over 500 customers on a one-to-one basis. And what we learnt from that was that they're all very different and they're all individuals. And they want an individual type of experience with the Bentayga. So we have technologies which enhance the city driving experience. We also have a whole suite of features which enable different lifestyles. So if you want to go hunting, to do coastal sports, to go skiing, we have different features which enable those different lifestyles.
Mulliner Hamper is composed of 3 hand trim units, each integrated into the boot space of the Bentayga, incorporating the finest crockery and silver-plated cutlery that we have sourced through Linley in London. Fully hand trimmed with a hide interior, as well as housing a luxurious Mulliner cashmere rug. A very special Bentayga option for the future is the Mulliner Tourbillon by Breitling. The case of this clock, especially made by Breitling, is machined from solid gold and features 8 diamonds on a face of mother of pearl or ebony.
So with the Bentayga we bring Bentley levels of craftsmanship and individual choice and personalisation to the SUV segment for the first time. So we'll have more paints, leathers and veneers than any other SUV in the market.
The chassis on the Bentayga is all new. It features a new air suspension system combined with continuous damping control, and this system gives us the possibility to offer 4 different ride heights. Traditionally, SUVs with a high centre of gravity will roll a lot in corners. To stop them rolling in corners, you'd have to make the springs very stiff. If the springs are very stiff, you don't get the wheel articulation you need to give good performance off-road. With our active anti-roll control system, we're able to effectively make the roll stiffness extremely stiff on road, giving us that fantastic handling, but off-road we can effectively decouple each wheel, which gives us big wheel articulation and excellent traction off-road. With one Drive Dynamics controller, the driver is able to access 8 different modes, 4 on-road modes and 4 off-road modes. By choosing those different options, he's effectively changing his damping, his ride height, his steering, ESC, the electronic stability program. He's changing his engine characteristics and his transmission characteristics. So all those driver tunable features of the chassis and powertrain are accessible through this one controller. Combination of on-road performance and off-road performance means that this car is going to be the best of any SUV in the world.
It's a car that combines everything, that combines the luxury, that combines the performance, that combines a new generation of cars for Bentley. It defines the future for Bentley. With this car we make big steps on the engine side, on the chassis side, on the electronic side, and that will be the masterpiece of all our next cars.
If you want to drive off-road, this is the added dimension that Bentayga can bring. The Bentayga is at home off-road as it is on the highway. The chassis is all new from the ground up, including a very innovative active roll control system that we're very excited about. The Bentayga has an all-new aluminium state-of-the-art body structure. The engine in the Bentayga is an all-new W12 6-litre engine. The interior, as you would expect, total Bentley luxury, but with the added dimension of the utility that comes with an SUV. There is no benchmark, there is no previous reference to go to. This is an all-new car in an all-new sector, and I'm really proud that we have achieved everything we set out to achieve, maybe a little bit more. It'll be the fastest, most exclusive, most luxurious SUV in the world.